Hello and welcome to this workshop on Chevening Scholarships. This is part of the Chevening Scholarship Support Program that is offered by Project EduAccess. My name is Samir and I'm going to moderate today's session. This is the outline for today's session. I'm going to quickly introduce Project EduAccess to you if you're not familiar with us, and then I'll introduce you to your panelists, our wonderful three Chevening scholars. And then they're the ones who will take you through the substantive bits of this presentation. They will cover an overview of the Chevening Scholarship, explain the eligibility criteria and in detail, especially the work experience, degree requirement, and how do you choose courses for Chevening. They will then give you an overview of the essays, a timeline, and talk about the other elements of this scholarship process, for example, references and interviews. We will then have a question and answer session towards the end where you have the opportunity to ask once again, either in chat or by raising your hand, any questions that you would like for our panelists to answer. I would highly encourage everybody to ask questions about the Chevening Scholarship and Chevening Scholarship alone. Of course, we will, from time to time at Project EduAccess, run a range of workshops on different aspects of university and scholarship applications. With that, let me introduce Project EduAccess to you. As you know, access to higher education, leadership, and professional opportunities is a privilege that most learners from marginalized communities are systematically denied on account of a number of barriers, whether those are information, cost, or other dispositional and systemic barriers. Project EduAccess is a nonprofit initiative and a modest attempt to address this. And to increase inclusivity in higher education spaces. We do this primarily through four key interventions that are mentoring, counseling, and role modeling, information advice and guidance, capacity building and leadership skill development, and evidence-based advocacy. It is my pleasure to introduce the three panelists for today's workshop. All three have been a product of Project EduAccess's mentorship one way or the other. So I am absolutely delighted to welcome Tahreen Chaudhury, who is going to read for an MSc in Health and International Development from the London School of Economics. She is a Chevening Scholar for this year. Joining her is Nabeela Jamil, who is also a Chevening Scholar from this year and is going to read for the LLM at SOAS University of London. And we have returning with us Maknoon Wani, who just finished the MSc in Social Sciences of the Internet at the University of Oxford on the Chevening Scholarship. While this session will primarily be conducted in English, panelists are able to speak other languages, for example, Hindi, Assamese, Urdu, and Kashmiri. So if you have questions in languages other than English, if you're not able to ask questions in English, feel free to use any of the languages that I mentioned, and we will try to answer questions in that language. With that, let me hand over to Maknoon, who is going to take us through the first part of the presentation, and then it'll be Tahreen and Nabeela, and then I'll come back to moderate the question and answer session. Over to you, Maknoon.
All right. Hi, everyone. Samir, can you hear me? Just to confirm. Hello?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, great. Hello, everyone. My name is Maknoon, as Samir rightly introduced me. I've just sent 3 links in the chat. Just for your information, these are 3 links related to timeline of the Chevening Scholarship, the work experience, and course finder. You might refer to them if you want to do your own research later on. So first of all, let's introduce Chevening Scholarships to you. What are Chevening Scholarships? These are master's scholarships. Of course, they are tenable for any master's program in the UK. They're funded by the UK government, of course, and they're funded specifically by the FCDO department, which is the department of the United Kingdom government. It supports future change makers, leaders, people who are good with networking, who want to bring change in their home countries, of course. And then what does the scholarship cover? It is a fully funded scholarship. It covers your tuition fees. It gives you monthly stipends which helps you with all the day-to-day expenses in the UK. It also covers your airfare to and from the UK. All these expenses are covered. Your visa application cost is covered, arrival and departure allowances are provided, and travel grants are also provided for any Chevening events that are held throughout the year in the UK. They might be research events, they might be events related to your farewell, your orientation week, etc., etc. Yeah. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, all right. Um, so about the eligibility of the Chevening Scholarship, what do you need to be eligible for this scholarship? You need to be a citizen of a Chevening eligible country. Around, I think, 160 countries and territories are covered by the Chevening scholarships. You also need to commit to returning to your home country for at least 2 years after your scholarship ends. And you need to have at least 2,800 hours of work experience, which is around 2 years. So we'll be discussing it in detail in the next couple of slides. You also need to hold an undergraduate degree that will qualify you for a UK master's degree. So you need to be eligible to one of the UK master's programs that you will be applying for. So for that, of course, you'll need an undergraduate degree from India. And of course, you need to apply to three different and eligible UK university courses. And later on, if you're selected for your interviews, everything is done and dusted, then you need to have an unconditional offer for at least one of these courses. You'll be applying for three courses. You need to have an unconditional offer from one of those courses. So a good practice would be, so I have the third link that I sent, Course Finder. If you already have a course in mind, just search it up on the Course Finder. It has a simple interface. So you can just confirm whether that course is included, whether that course is eligible for Chevening Scholarship or not. So first of all, work experience. Before applying for a Chevening Scholarship, you need to have at least 2 years of work experience. 2 years of work experience do not need to be like consecutive work experiences. You just have to calculate the number of hours. So when I'm assuming that some of you must have, opened an account on the Chevening Scholarship portal. There you just put in your weeks, the number of hours per week, and it just automatically calculates the total number of hours that you have, worked for. So this is quite simple, but people often have more questions regarding this particular, requirement. So I'll be happy to have like take more questions on this. So yeah, you'll be asked to provide details of your work experience in the application form. This also includes names of your employers, job titles and dates of employment. Your references can be from your employers, they can be from your professors or from your teachers from your college. So a couple of references, when you're asked for those references, they'll be you know uh, they'll be confirmed, they'll be verified by the British High Commission, by the Chevening Trust. Next slide. So how is the Chevening work experience calculated? You'll be required to input the number of weeks. I think we already discussed this, and hours that you have worked for every job, and then your employment history will be like everything will be there in the application form. You can add up to 15 entries. That is the limit on the portal. Your entries will be calculated automatically by multiplying the number of weeks worked by the number of hours worked per week. There's 2,800 hours of work equate to, I think, approximately 2 years of full-time employment. It is based on the assumption that full-time employees work on an average of 35 hours per week and 40 weeks per year. There's no limit as such to, these 2 years do not have to be consecutive, right? And if you have worked for 2,800 hours in less than 2 years, that is also acceptable. You're also eligible for that. And you may meet the 2,800 hours over a period of more than 2 years, right? So if you've already done part-time employment, you have engaged in, internships, paid or unpaid, everything is included. Next. All right, what is the degree requirement? So I think we already discussed this. Degree requirement for achieving scholarship is the same as the degree requirement for your postgraduate program at a UK university. Usually it's a upper second class degree with a few exceptions in maybe a couple of universities in the UK. Upper second class degree is around about 60 to 70% in your undergrad. So that is a general requirement in UK universities, and that is the same for this Chevening scholarship as well. You must have already graduated from your degree at the time of application. So you already need to have a degree when you're applying for Chevening scholarship. You cannot apply for a Chevening award in the final year of your undergraduate degree, of course. And so you'd already need to have a degree when you're applying. Uh, when you're applying for a Chevening scholarship, you need to indicate three choices in the order of preference, that this is my first preference, second preference, and third preference. Of course, you do not need to have a master's offer at the time of the application. You will need to have an unconditional offer in July. The date is available on the timeline. We'll be, I think, discussing, Nabeela or Tahreen will be discussing the timeline in detail. You also need to separately apply for your course. Of course, Chevening Scholarship is provided by the FCDO, by the UK government. So you need to apply for Chevening Scholarship. You also need to simultaneously apply for these courses that you have indicated within the Chevening Scholarship. And courses must be full-time. They need to start in autumn term, that is usually September or October. It needs to be a taught master's course, not an MBRES, not a master's in research. It needs to be a taught master's. That is, you'll have classes every week. So it needs to be such a course, and it needs to lead to a master's degree, and the course needs to be based in the UK. Courses which are not included are part-time or distance learning, less than 9 months, courses which span less than 9 months or more than 12 months. That is the limit, 9 to 12 months. And it cannot be a PhD, and it has to be a taught master's with more, it cannot be it cannot be a taught master's with more than 1 month of study outside the UK. So some courses might require you to go outside the UK for more than 1 month. That is not eligible. Such courses are not eligible for the Chevening Scholarship. Again, if you have already researched a course for the Chevening Scholarship, you can search it up on the course finder, and that will help you shortlist the courses. Next slide. All right. Now Tahreen will be taking you through the application process for the Chevening Scholarship.
Thank you so much, Maknoon, for the introduction. So I'll begin with exactly how to apply for Chevening Scholarship. So all applicants for Chevening must be completed via the online application system, which is available on their website, which is chevening.org. So once you go to their website, you first have to register. So once you register, then you get a mail from the Chevening, which is known as the Chevening Scholarship Management System. After you receive the mail, then you're required to provide a password, and your username is basically your email ID, and that basically is your application. That is exactly what your application that you are going to apply, and that is your thing. So once you start that, try to remember your password, and in case if you happen to forget, that's not an issue. You can always go and give forget password, and then you will be given a new password from the Chevening. You have to complete the online registration form. You have to pass the eligibility checker, which has already been explained. And you have to make a note of your access code and try not to forget, and you can keep that in written somewhere. And then you have to complete each section of the application form. When you are applying for the entire scholarship, you have to be very mindful. You need to really stay calm. The application system is quite easy. It's quite accessible. It's not very complicated. The things which Chevening application asks are very simple. So you don't have to worry about it. Sections on personal details, immigration details, education history, work history, programs of study, reference, essay questions, and equal opportunities. Next is, after completing your application, you can then submit your application. Be very careful. You can also save your application. If you feel like you need some days time, then you can always save your application, and then you can come back to the application portal, and then you can start again. But try always to save your application. You need to respond to the four important essays which Chevening requires, which is leadership, relationship building, your course choices, and your future career goals, which will be taken up by Nabeela. So leadership is basically about your work, the kind of impact, the kind of leadership. It could be anything. It could be if you're working at from the grassroots to the policy level. So there is no hierarchy on that note, but it should reflect the kind of work you are doing and what kind of leadership skills have you executed during your professional space. Then relationship building is basically one of the most important essays of Chevening, and it should reflect your networking ability, your networking skills, how your networking skills, because of your networking skills, how you have impacted. The next is your course choices, which you need to be very clear, and you need to be mindful that your choices, the three choices that you make, that should relate to each other. You cannot be making very different choices from one another. The universities can obviously be different, but course choices needs to be very similar. I mean, it has to be in the similar domain. It cannot be very different from one another. Then you have your future career goals, which you need to place. This is the last essay, and this is also a very crucial essay, because it is divided between two parts, which is short term and long term. So you need to really think like what will be your short term goals, what will be your long term goals. It has to align with your course choices. It has to align with the work that you have been doing. So each answer has a 500 word limit, and that is something that Chevening is extremely strict about, because if you are putting even one word more than 500, the portal is not taking. So your each essay should be, the limit is 500. It is generally recommended that you prepare your answers to the essay question in a separate document before copying and pasting in the application form. That is something, it's very advisable that in a separate, in a Google Sheet or in a different document, if you can write all the essays, check, spell check, do the grammar and everything, and then you come back to the portal and you then paste it. When we move to the timeline, so 5th November 2024, which is this year's timeline, this is the deadline of the application, and you need to abide by it anyhow, and try avoiding last minute applications, and try to give at least 3 to 4 days prior to the deadline, because it happened with me, the website crashes. So be very careful with the timeline. Mid-February, announcement of shortlisted candidates who are then invited for the interview stage. So by February, by this month, by end of Feb, you will be getting mails from Chevening, like if you're invited for the interview. 19 February, shortlisted candidates will be requested to submit 2 references and their education documents prior to their interview date. So by 19th, you have to give your references. So before that, you have to keep in touch with your referees, whoever's name you have given during the application portal, and Chevening is not responsible for collecting the references. You have to get the references from your referees, and then you have to upload it. June 2025 onwards, interview results will be announced. Then you will get your final results. If you are conditionally selected, like whatsoever reserve, you will be getting to know by Chevening. 11 July 2025, this is the deadline to receive and submit at least one unconditional offer from the university. So this is the final deadline where you need to submit your unconditional offer from the university. Next slide. References and LORs. As part of your Chevening application form, you will only be required to submit the names and contact details of your referees. You will then need to upload your reference letters to the application system if you're invited for the Chevening interview. So initially, you just have to give the names of your references. And once you are selected, you're called for the interview, then you need to upload it. These can be 2 professional referees or 2 academic referees or one of each. It is advisable to have at least 1 professional referee, because Chevening is more like a development scholarship. So of course they focus on academics, but it is also important that at least one of your referees should be from your professional space. It could be a director of your organization, your manager, whoever is responsible and whoever can have say a word about you. Chevening will not contact your referees, as I have stated. You must collect and upload the references yourself. However, the British Embassy or High Commission may later contact them for verification. The reference must include referee's contact details, address, email, phone number, the length of the time the referee has known the applicant, the capacity in which the referee knows them, and when the referee had last regular contact with the applicant. So Chevening keeps in mind all these things. So when you are choosing your referees, so you need to be very careful. So how, the kind of connection that you have. Also understand it's not necessary to give referees of very high level. I mean, it's not that requirement. The most important thing is that your referee knows you. Your referee can have a word of the kind of work he can comment about it, and he can comment about, most importantly, the skills in leadership and networking, personal, intellectual, and interpersonal qualities, ability to complete a demanding academic program in the UK. So ensure that you think about your referees from now onwards and while you are applying for the application. Interviews. So there is usually a panel of 3 members who takes the interview, and then they are mostly scheduled between March and April, and that you will get to know in the email. Once you are selected for the interview, you will be given an option to select from multiple slots, and that is also available in the application system. Interviews are mostly around the 4 essays. You are expected to elaborate and add to your essay responses. So Project EduAccess also conducts a lot of mock interviews, which you will get to know eventually. So once you are selected for the interviews, so there's no need to worry. You can give those mock interviews. There may be some additional general questions, but these are unlikely to be technical questions from your stream. So essays are just your, so interview is based on your essays. It's just your 4 essays. You need to be extremely thorough with your essays. You need to at least go through essays again and again. So interview is completely based on all the 4 essays that you have submitted. Now I'll give the Nabeela to take over.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I'll straight away start with this. Essays are very important. Essays are your first step to the Chevening Scholarship, and they will remain very important till the very last, because in the interview, as Tahreen mentioned, they just want to know a person who has written that essay. So they want you to build on those essays. They want to know more about it. And in the selection criteria of Chevening, as it is mentioned, they are looking for a leader. So leadership is the key word, and you will have to show it demonstrated in every essay, whether it's a essay of study plan, essay of career plan, or networking. So there are times when it gets confusing and it gets overlapping, whether what to write in the leadership and what to write in the networking essay. And I'll discuss how I was able to see what things I should put in the leadership essay and what things I should put in the networking essay. So basically, they're looking for a person who has leadership skills, so which sounds actually very generic. And normally one of the mistakes that people do is that they start defining leadership and they start quoting people and this was one thing that was told to us from Project EduAccess, that you should not quote Nelson Mandela or Martin Luther King, and you should say that this is what leadership is. This is how it has been defined by somebody. Rather, they are looking for a person who can think originally. So it should come from you, how you see leadership. And so it should come organically, and you will have to substantiate that. So that is very important. And Chevening says that they are looking for people not only who have leadership skills, but they will have to evidence those skills. And that is the most important part. To evidence leadership skills, you will have to use an approach, which is the STAR approach, the uh, situation, task, action, and impact. So result. So there you will have to show that there was a situation, there was a problem. And if you can use some data, some statistics to show that this was the situation, this percentage, there was a percent of people who were going through a problem, and there was an action that was supposed to be taken, and I took some action, and then there was some positive impact because of that action. So there you prove that you have leadership skills and you were able to evidence it. Now in the leadership essay, rather than writing, giving a lot of examples, you can give like 2 examples or 3 examples, and then you can properly use the STAR approach. So you can define it in your own words, then you can use the STAR approach, you can give some examples, evidence those skills, and then you can finally write like 2-3 lines saying how it is important for your country or your community or the Chevening community in general. So then there is the plan of study. You will have to show that you will have to demonstrate in your essay that what are your plans in the UK, what do you want to study in the UK, and those plans should be very well researched. Now, the third part is the career plans. You will have to write what you want to pursue when you come back to India and how that is connected with what you have done till now professionally and academically, and how that is relevant to the study that you're going to undertake in UK. Next slide. So leadership and influence, I have covered some area of it. In this, you will have to give recent examples. Chevening says in its blog that there are people who have, applicants who have also written about some leadership example from their from the school days or from their childhood, which doesn't become very relevant for their work that they're doing today. So you can give some recent professional examples, you can give some recent academic examples, and then you can demonstrate how you took some goals, how you took some initiatives, how you started some project, and how did that help in some problem. And then you will have to link this. So linking and connecting is very important. You will have to link it to the course that you want to pursue and the plan that you have for yourself when you come back to India. Yeah. So, Sami, can we go to the next slide? I will just. Okay. Yeah, so in the networking essay, what confused me is that what to use in the leadership essay and what to use in the networking essay. So in the networking essay, you are basically writing that you can make excellent professional relationships, and you can make relationship with people so that you can make some changes within your communities or towards a problem that people are facing in your country or your community, and which somehow overlaps with the leadership thing. The key is that in the leadership essay, you will have to write about yourself rather than writing about a group of people. So you will have to use a lot of I's. And in the networking essay, you will have to tell how you looped in a lot of people, or you collaborated with some organizations, and then you worked towards a problem. So there you will have to discuss specific networks that you tapped into and how you made certain networks, and then what you accomplished through those networking. So then, just a minute, I have some problem. Yeah, I will just open my slide. Yeah, so then you will have to explain how being a part of the global Chevening community will help you drive positive change. So here I use the Chevening annual report, which you can use. So in the Chevening annual report, they normally give the number of scholars that are there in a cohort from a particular discipline. So for example, I was from the legal domain. So I wrote that there are so many legal scholars, and I gave a percentage of the legal scholars which were there in a particular cohort. And then I wrote how making networks with those people who come from the same discipline can help me in working in a particular direction that I've already worked, and that I want to about which I want to pursue a particular course also. So that one can do in order to substantiate that you have networking skills. Also, just writing that you can make networks is not sufficient. You will also have to show a commitment towards a cause. So just saying that I have made certain networks, I worked with a person, then I was interning with that person, then I got a job with that person won't be sufficient. You will also have to substantiate how those networks help towards a particular cause. So that is very important. Yes, next slide. Yeah, so studying in the UK, to be chosen for Chevening, you must demonstrate why you chose your master's course and how they align with your past experiences and future goals. So to impress, you will have to make connections, you will have to be original, and you will have to focus on course content. Now, being original is very important, because a lot of times what we do is that since we don't know about these courses, we go to the website of particular universities which we want to be a part of. And then what we do is that we copy paste content from these websites, and we write about this courses. We normally paraphrase it. What we can do is that we can research about certain modules that we want to take. We can write about professors. We can also write about certain research interests that we have, and that will that a particular professor also, there is an area that a particular professor is also working in. So we can say that I want to work with this professor. I have this research area, and I want to take this module. So it should look that you have well researched a particular university. What I did in my essay is that I wrote in the first paragraph that I want to pursue law, and which is a common thread in all the university courses and all the universities that I'm applying for. And in the second paragraph, you will have to write why not India? Why don't you want to pursue the same course from India? Why not US or some other country? Why do you want to pursue this course from UK? And there also one can write something very generic, like people tend to write that UK has a common law system and India also a common law system, but then you also have to justify it. So justifying is the key. And then you will also have to, you can make separate paragraphs. You can write one paragraph about one course, another paragraph about another course. And there you can specifically explain their modules, the professors, or the different things, the different culture that these universities have. And then you can bind the entire essay in the final paragraph. Yes. Career plans. In the career plan, Chevening looks for applicants who have a clear and achievable post-study career plan. To score well on this criteria in your application, set clear goals, leverage the Chevening experience. So the key to this essay is to balance between reason and passion. So it should be very ambitious, but it should also be very reasonable. So it should be achievable in nature. So you can write something very ambitious, but then you will have to substantiate that you can do it. And also you will be writing about your immediate plans when you come back to India. You will also be writing about your midterm plans, and you will also be writing about your long-term plans. So then all these plans will be having a connection between them. And there you will have to make a balance that how you are going to achieve these plans. Now you will also have to write how these plans are going to be beneficial for your community, for a cause that you feel about, and also for your country in general. Here you can also write how the UK government already has some MOU with the Indian government. The FCDO is already working in this area. And since you are going to work in this area and this is your plan, this area is going to benefit from your work. So you can basically bind everything together. You can say that since I'm going to get this degree, and this degree is only possible if I get a Chevening scholarship, when I come back, this plan is going to be relevant towards this cause. So the idea in all the essays is to have a flow. And since we are already we are almost in September, one can start with a mind map. One can start with writing. 500 words is the maximum limit. 150 words is the minimum word limit. And once we start writing, what I did is that I started writing simple, like whatever I wanted to write. I kept myself free. I wrote an honest draft. And then you start waiting, you start reducing words, because there are going to be multiple reviews. So you need time with that. Yes.
Great. Thank you so much, Maknoon, Nabeela, and Tahreen, for that wonderful presentation. This brings us to the question and answer session now. I know there were quite a lot of questions already in chat. I think there are a couple of questions that I'll address right at the outset, and then I will invite people who have their hands up to ask their questions. The first is about IELTS or English language tests. You do not need IELTS or English language proficiency test scores at the time of your application. So for Chevening, you don't need them at all, but you may need IELTS test scores for your university applications. And even with those university applications, you generally provide that once you have an offer from the university. So at the time of the application, you do not necessarily need to provide this. So please don't worry about English language test scores at the moment, and please leave all of those questions aside. The other question that is common here is about timeline of your Chevening applications and university applications. As Maknoon mentioned, you do not need to apply for your university at this time, right? Your Chevening application is independent of your university applications, and you need to follow the process and timeline of your university application. So if you're applying, let's say, to Oxford, and Oxford is one of your choices for the Chevening Scholarship in your essays and your application form, then you need to follow the deadlines for Oxford University for that particular course. Otherwise, there is no need to apply right now and have an offer. With that, I know there are a lot of questions and a lot of hands up. So let me go one by one and invite Fayaz Mahdi to ask the first question. Fayaz, the floor is yours.
Hi, hello. Am I audible?
Yes, and as a general rule, you are audible unless we ask you and tell you that you're not audible. So let's continue.
All right, Assalamu alaikum. My first question is I would like to pursue my PhD as well. I have completed my master's already from Amity University. I wish to go for double masters, and as Chevening Scholarship itself says that we need to come back to India after we complete the tenure. So if I want to pursue my PhD from the same university, hypothetically if it is Oxford, so should I have to come back to India and then go back after 2 years? So what's the criteria is my first question. And my second question is when will we be provided with the portal and the dashboard so that we can keep having the mentees and the mentors together? So 20, I was told in the email that we have officially begun, and what and how is the next step going to be? So these are my pertinent two questions.
Thanks. So all the mentees of EduAccess were on this call. I'm not going to answer any questions related to the mentorship program, and I'll answer those tomorrow at the session, and I'll leave this for the Chevening Scholarship. So please ask your questions, prioritize the time that's here. We have 3 Chevening Scholars, and let's have questions related to Chevening Scholarship. With that, your first question was about the Chevening Scholarship, and I'll request one of the scholars to answer that.
So, the thing is that when you apply to Chevening and you get the scholarship, there's a bona fide understanding between you and the Chevening Scholarship Trust that you will come back. Okay. So you will have to come back for 2 years. That is the official position of Chevening, and we will suggest that you follow that.
So we need to just come back, and if at all
Yes,
somebody
for two
wants to
years.
go for PhD thing, so that was my
You
question.
should
Like,
ideally wait for 2 years before going back.
all right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anuj.
I have one question around the fact like, what if like you're applying to 3 different courses? For example, maybe the fact like one of your courses of migration, another one is around LLB, the third one is around journalism. How do you like bridge? How do you answer your question? The specific one question in the essay which specifically ask about the course itself, that why do you want to study that course? So I'm a little bit confused about writing that question. Which course should I emphasize upon, or how should I write about all these courses which are of different domains and interests?
So Anuj, I would say, see, I look at all these essays, these 4 essays, and the entire application, I look at it as one single unit, right? So there has to be some internal consistency between all these elements. When you're responding to that particular question where you discuss the courses that you're applying for, all those courses have to align what they're teaching, what the learning outcomes are, the experiences that you will gain, the discussions you will be having, the modules you will study in these courses. They have to be aligned with your biographical narrative, right? What you've already said about your experiences, your professional experiences, as well as your personal experiences, right? Your academic experiences. So if you're applying to completely distinct courses, I mean, you can do that. Technically, that is possible. But I would say that is my personal opinion, and I could be wrong, but I would say that that is not advisable that you apply to completely distinct courses. But if you're talking about LLB and migration, for example, I'm not an expert in these fields, but I'd say if there's 1 or 2 modules or there's some common elements between these two, I would say there is, because there's migration law, there's other elements that are common. So you just have to make sure that that one question about courses, there's some consistency and there's some justification as to why you're applying to these 3 different courses. And if you're able to find some similarities between these courses and you're able to justify why you're trying to apply to these courses based on what your existing experiences are, then I think it should be fine. But doesn't have to be like, it shouldn't be ideally completely distinct, or it shouldn't look like you're applying to completely different domains. So you need to be able to justify those applications.
Hello, excuse me. Am I audible?
Uh, Sorry, I'll prioritize those who have their hands up. So Rubab, go ahead, ask your question.
Hello, I have two questions. So, can I apply for the scholarship if I'm currently doing a 1 year postgraduate degree? Second, can I still will my work experience be counted if I'm meeting the 2,400 criteria by June or July of next year? Let's say my job contract ends then.
It's it's 2,800, and
Yeah, that.
I don't think you can put in hours which you will be completing by next year. So it is like your existing work experience. You have to cap it at that.
And the first question as well. Tahreen or
Hello?
Maknoon or
Hello.
Nabeela, the first
Sir,
question.
I don't know how to answer. Uh, like, I'm using mobile, so
Okay,
I
no
don't
problem,
know
Akhil.
how this
I will call on you
Bob, can
shortly.
you
Okay.
please repeat the first question? Sorry.
The first question was that they are in their postgraduate degree. Can they still apply?
No, of course you can apply. If you meet the work experience requirements, you can apply. But you'll have to, I think there was a question, similar question in the chat as well. You'll have to apply with your undergrad scores, not your master's scores. So the academic requirements for Chevening are the same as the academic requirements for the courses you're applying to. So a postgraduate course, a master's course in the UK will ask you for your undergrad, your college grades. They will not ask you for your master's grades. That might help you if you enter those scores there, but the requirement is your undergrad scores. So if you're meeting the work experience 2,800 hours, you're meeting the eligibility requirements, the academic eligibility requirements, then you're good to go.
Hello, I have a question.
So could I request people who have questions either to put them in chat or raise their hands? Because we already have 18 people who have their hands up. It will be unfair if I prioritize someone who has not raised their hand. So let me go to Mayur. Mayur, please ask your question.
First of all, thank you so much for this session. So coming back to question, so from the session, I got to know that the Chevening Scholarship revolves around the public policy. So after completing my tenure, after completing my degree or a postgraduate degree, I will have to come back to my land and I will have to do the work which I'm supposed to do. So it's around like how will be able to give back to society. So I am a law graduate and I intern with different law firms and companies. So can I apply for this scholarship because I feel that this scholarship is basically for the public policy.
Mayur, this scholarship is not just for the public policy. It is for every field like every field out there. So you can apply to any postgraduate course in the UK and apply for that course, and you're also eligible for the Chevening Scholarship. What they require you to like, they need to know that you're motivated to solve a problem in your home country, a developmental problems, any problem in any field. So that problem solving attitude has to be there. So there are problems in every other field, right? So you can use your law degree, you can use your degree in STEM to solve problems in the society. That is not a problem. Even your corporate law or any other degree that you've done so far. So you need to have some sort of a work experience in the field that has had some interaction with people, or some sort of a problem solving uh, aspect to it.
Okay, so
Tarin, do
it
you
can
want
be
to
used
add
with the
anything?
corporate as well.
So if I can add on, Mayur,
Yeah,
if you
go ahead.
worked in the corporate field, so you can write about the work that you've already done, and what is some problem that you find in that, and then why do you want to study in that area, and when you come back you want to solve that problem. So basically this is that. Like, for example, I am also from the law field, and I have worked in constitutional law and human rights and all that. So I wrote about a problem, and I also tried to evidence it, that this is the percentage and how much it has increased and so on. And if I go and if I read about this, then I want to come back and I want to do, and I want to continue litigation in this area. So all you will have to do is to justify. If you can justify that this is a problem which is there, if you can, because you are also communicating with an audience which is not well versed with this problem, perhaps because it's India related, or it's related to your community. So you will have to also build upon that problem. You also have to tell how big the problem is, and then why work is important. So if you can do that, then it's good.
Okay.
Great. Sheikh Madiha.
Yeah, hi. So I have two questions mainly. First is based upon references. Right now, I'm thinking to choose my references. So one surely will be from my company. The second one, is it necessary that we should be like in contact with them? Because if I'm choosing a professor, I have completed my undergraduate about 2 years ago. So I'm not really in contact with them anymore. So like how we should make a decision on choosing our references.
So can I
One
take,
is this. Yeah, please.
so when I applied, I was already like 5 years after my graduation, I applied. So I was not in touch with my professors. But I think if you can take one academic and one professional, it is always advisable. You take one professional, but also because you're going for an academic degree, you can take one academic. But if you are not in touch at all, then there is no hard and fast rule which is written that you will have to take to academic or to professional. Then you can also take to professional. But what I will advise you is that you can ask your mentor or whoever is giving you the LOR to write also something which also shows your academic side. So, for instance, I was working with a lawyer, and that was my professional LOR. I also got one from my professor, but in the professional LOR also, he mentioned one paragraph that I am an editor of a journal, and I worked on this matter which was very academic in nature. So if you can ask him specifically, so you can also do that. That also works.
So basically, I am from engineering background, and that is the problem. When we work, we really don't have these kinds of things, especially in corporate. If you're working in corporate, it's not possible. It will be completely like you just work. I mean, I'm working on that for international projects as of now. But I'm like about to switch from this company. But since my manager, I mean, she has been knowing me from past 2 years now. So I was thinking of her, but I mean, she won't be able to relate it to my academics because there's no connection. I mean, we just work. I mean, how do I say? Like, we build projects, we develop them, and that's it. That's what we do.
So actually, there is no hard and fast rule on LORs. You can have
Okay.
to LORs. That won't be a problem.
And what if, like, I was also thinking about this thing that the company which I might be joining now after like 1 or 2 months, there's one person, and like I had a great conversation with him, and he has a master's in the same degree, which I am going to be like preferring. So I was thinking that if his LOR, I mean, since we right now for application, we just have to put our details, the referees, details, and not an length. What if like anyway if we get shortlisted, that person will be giving a detailed LOR after a few months, and he would be knowing me in a better way. So is it possible that I can even use him as a reference?
So I think there is a section as to what is required from an LOR and what is required, what do they expect from a referee to write. You can go through that section also. And there is a time till I think February you can submit your LOR. So you can apply as of now, and then you can get his reference and you can ask him to upload it.
Okay.
Rather, you can do your
One. Okay. One
Nadeela,
more question. Yeah.
sorry, just wanted to add, for references, it really doesn't matter if a person is, famous, if the person is from the
Mhm.
same course. What really matters is how much that person knows you, and how well that person can speak to your qualities. If you have a manager who has, supervised you for 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years, it's better to get an LOR from that person. And it doesn't
Okay.
really, she doesn't have to, justify your candidature for the course. It doesn't necessarily have to be regarding your academics. It has to be about you as a person, what kind of networking skills, leadership skills, or any other virtuous, qualities that you have. They can speak about that. They can add anecdotes from your workplace, how you have managed a couple of projects, how you showed leadership in those projects, and that will justify your candidature for the Chevening Scholarship. That's it.
One more thing to add on. I heard there's some link which comes after, like to your reference, the who has referred you. Oh, could you please elaborate a little on it? I'm a little confused. Like, what is that link about?
You
Some
the scholarship, the Chevening Trust won't send any links. You
okay,
have to ask your referee to give you the LOR on a letter pad, and there you have to mention some details about everything is mentioned on the Chevening website. But I think you have to, like, they have to mention their email, their contact details on that letterhead. You need to scan that, or it needs to be a digital copy, and you have to upload it on the portal. They
okay.
won't
Then
upload.
there's
You have to
okay,
upload
okay,
it.
okay.
Okay.
One more
Hello.
question.
Can we move now? Sorry.
Sorry.
I have a question.
I will unfortunately stop you because there are people who have raised their hands, and it will be
I
absolutely
have
unfair if I
raised
don't.
I have raised so many times.
Okay, I will take you up, Faiza, just after a couple of questions. I'm sorry, but there are people who have their hands up for quite some time. Anas, please go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you. Firstly, thank you for Project EduAccess and all the panelists for conducting this informative session. My question is directly to the four essays. My question comes from, is like for each essay its own unit, but my question is like your overall story comes from all those four essays connecting. So my idea is that does one person reads one unit of the essay, or the whole all four essays are read by one particular person and then graded on? And I asked this question from this idea that while writing it, my story sort of comes across, the complete story comes from connecting all the four essays. So should my story be reflected in each of those individual units while I'm answering all the required points as well? Like for leadership, you're mentioning all the leadership qualities and everything. For networking, you're doing the same. But my personal story as well, who am I, where I come from, and what I plan to do by then, should it be reflected in each of those essays, or should it be a complete unit? That's why my question, like, how did you approach this?
Uh, Hi, I would like to answer this. I can understand each one of us has a very different journey. We all have been working in different domains and different spaces. So when I would advise you, when you start writing, I would say sit down with a calm mind and have start putting the notes. The thing is, your journey can is mostly reflected in the SOP that you are going to write for the university. There is that space is more where you can write about from where you belong, from where you come, and what has been your journey. With Chevening, as I believe, it's a little bit of a strategic application where you need to really reflect on the keywords that they have already mentioned, which is networking, which is leadership, which is course, and which is your future goals. Networking and leadership are extremely crucial essays which determines your entire status of your application. So when you are writing the leadership essay, so you need to put more emphasis, like how were you able to show the leadership. Your journey can definitely come if in your journey you have done something at the community level, at any other level. If it has reflected, that can definitely come. But also be very mindful and be very careful that it should reflect you as a leader, because Chevening is a scholarship which they basically want leaders who can take up responsibility, who can who has managed a team, who has solved or resolved an issue, as Nabeela has said, the star approach. So if you can keep these key points when you are writing the essay, that really helps.
Okay, thank you, Simon.
Excellent. Can we have Akhil now? Akhil.
Hi, thank you so much. Hello,
Yeah, yes, Akhil, go ahead, ask your
am I
question.
audible?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead and ask your
Sir,
question.
uh, I have one question regarding my scores, undergraduate score. I am an MPhil grad. Already I have done MPhil. This will be I am apply. I wish to apply for PhD and post graduation. So for post graduation only, I will get this scholarship, right? And if I for getting this scholarship, they will look for your undergraduate score. So undergraduate score, I have got only 62%. Is there an? Am I audible? Am I eligible, like for this scholarship? That
I
is the
feel
question.
scores doesn't matter that much for Chevening. It's more of your work. I'm not sure, but scores doesn't matter that much. Even my graduation, I scored 60%. But I've already done one master's, and yes, Chevening is only for masters. It's not for PhD. So scores doesn't matter that much if you're able to justify it with your work and with the essays. Scores should not matter that much for your undergraduation or graduation, or for post graduation.
And
Yes.
ma'am, I have done my uh, PG MSW no, sorry, 7 years back. If I go back to them and like ask for my referral, is that okay? Or otherwise, should I go to my graduate undergraduate school? Like I did BCom before post graduation. So should I go to my college where I did BCom and get my referral from my BCom professors?
So basically asking which reference would count more. Is it your graduation or
Yes.
post graduation?
No.
Right.
Yeah. Which reference should I get from my undergraduation or my post graduation? I am now 33-year-old. So my post graduation, undergraduation, I did in 2011. I passed out in 2011. So should I go there, or like all my professors
Akhil,
are retired?
have you worked during this period?
Yes, I work. I work.
So what you can do is you can get one of the references from your managers or your co-workers from your office, and the other one can be from your masters, or if you're doing MPhil right now, from your, you can have one academic reference and one from your, your office. Your undergrad will not be a good option, I think, because I don't know if you have any professor there who still remembers you. So it will be better to have someone who knows you right now, who has recently worked with you or who has recently taught you. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, as
Thank you.
Maknoon said earlier,
I have a question.
Thank you.
Hello. Actually, I'm done my.
If you can just
Sorry,
let Samir choose people, that will be more organized. Yeah. He's too
sorry.
polite.
There are people who have their hands up, and I will prioritize the hands that are up. If you have a question, please raise your hand, and I will make sure that I come to you. And please let the panelists speak. Nabeela, go ahead and continue your thought.
yeah, so I was saying that as Maknoon already said, whoever can write better about you. So if it's a professor from the if it's a person you have worked with, so if that person can write in detail about you, it should not be a small LOR, it should not be a generic one. So whoever can write a warm LOR for you, which looks like that person has paid some attention, so you should take that person's LOR. So actually, when I first I applied to one university, not the Chevening Scholarship, and there I used an LOR from a senior advocate and who wrote like 800 words. But later on, I realized with time that I will have to take an LOR even from a non-senior or an AOR or somebody. But that LOR should be very warm. So that person wrote like 3-4 pages for me, and I used it this time for the Chevening Scholarship, and I think that worked. So one should go with the with a person who you know is going to give time to you.
Great. Faiza, you are not able to raise your hand, but you did message. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Sir, may I?
Faiza, and not Anu. I'm sorry, Anu. I will have to mute you.
Hello.
Faiza,
Yes, I want to know that if I have completed my master's here in India and I have to go for the second master's there, will it affect my application status?
No, it won't. It won't.
And if my work experience is not related with my field of education?
That doesn't make you ineligible. You're still eligible. In your essays, you'll need to justify it. That's all you.
Okay. And one more question. Actually, I want to know that if I do not have any work experience certificate, I'm a, self-dependent. I run my own coaching center. So how it will affect
You
the
don't.
application?
No, you don't need a work experience certificate as such. But if there are like 15 slots for you to enter your, uh, work experiences, I would say you should have a couple of people there. Like maybe, have you not worked at all, like at an office or with anyone?
No, I have worked for some months, but the time hours they require, I
Hmm.
don't think they will count those hours in this work experience. But I have been doing teaching students from the past 4 years,
Okay,
and I
so
run my own coaching
that's
center.
fine. If you have your own coaching center, then I'm sure you have more people working there. If there are more people working there, you can ask references from those people, or maybe your academic references from your master's degree or your undergrad as well. That will work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
okay. Next, Zakia.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So I have two questions. Uh, First question is like I did my undergrad in engineering. Post that I have 3 years of experience, and then I did masters in social work, and I have 3 years experience post my masters. So will my experience combined of both engineering and social work, will it be considered for uh, the work experience criteria, or will uh, my 6 years experience will it have any impact on my application? That's my first question.
So it's fine. All those
It's
6 years
fine.
of experience will be counted. You can
Okay.
enter all those years.
Okay. My second and last question is regarding the reference part. So, getting reference from people with whom I worked. So basically, I work for a government organization where my immediate reporting officer keeps on changing, but I have only one boss with whom I worked for a good amount of time, let's say for 2 years. But right now, my boss is not in that organization. So can I still give his or her reference?
Yes, you can definitely give. That doesn't matter if you're the person that you are working it is not no longer in the organization. That is not the criteria. You can still
Okay.
give his or her reference, and maybe you can also add like you're in engineering, then you move to social work. So what made you go to
Okay.
social work? If that aspect you can highlight, that would really enhance your application.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Taha.
Hi. Uh, First of all, congratulations to all of you for like getting Chevening scholarships. I have like three questions. First is like I was looking at the Chevening scholarship. I just opened their portal and I was looking at what all is there in the website. Um, I was wondering how do I begin with the relationship building and shared learning essay? If you can expand more, like Nabeela, you talked a bit about it, but you can expand more about how what do they mean by like relationship building? Like for example, like I have passed out for 3 years from my college, but I'm still in connect with the professors, and I am currently doing a project with them. That counts as a relationship building or not? The second question is. I have a luxury of choosing between references. I can choose my college professors as my reference or people that I work with. Like people I work with are also academicians. They work in American academia. Who do I choose? Like, is there a sort of a weighing of academic versus professional? Is there any benefit of using just academic or just professional? Then the third question is like the Chevening scholarship says that you need to have one letter of unconditional acceptance by the time you submit the application. How do you sort of handle that? I'm sorry I missed the earlier session of this, so I might have missed it. I'm really sorry.
So to answer your third part first, you will have to have the unconditional offer letter by 11th of July next year. So when you are applying, you need an offer letter, neither unconditional nor conditional. Now, in the networking essay, basically what they're looking for, they don't just want a person who can make networks. They want a person who can further a cause through those networks. So they also write this on their blog that there are people who write that they could maintain certain networks. They could make a lot of they made a club, they were part of something, they were part of some collaboration. But then you'll also have to write that what did you do with those networks. So there the element of leadership comes in. So in that essay, you will also have to write those things. And there also you will have to use the star approach. So you will have to, the differences from the leadership essays that you will have to write that there was a problem, and then you identified that problem, and then you made certain networks in some, for instance, an organization or something. You use those networks to solve that problem. Even if you didn't solve it, you made certain dent, made some change in it. And if you can put some data there that you made, some percentage or something, or it got reported, or there was a change, some FIR took place or something, whatever is your domain, then that helps. So that is what they want from the networking essay. Why do they want it? Is that because Chevening is a big cohort. It's I think the largest scholarship. So there is going to be a big network there, and they want scholars who can go there, they can network, and through those networks, those global networks, they can come back to their home countries, and then they can make change. And they will continue doing the work that they were doing, and they say that they are going to do, but in a better way through the use of those networks. So you can write 2-3 examples. I wrote 2 examples. You can define what is networking for you. You can give some unique examples. Unique in the sense is that they're going to get so many essays, and everybody is going to define networking and leadership. So something that puts you apart. So for instance, when I was writing my networking essay, I wrote that since I work in constitutional law matters and human rights matters, I do not only have networks within the litigation circles, but also with journalists and research organizations, because that is very important to evidence a problem before the court, and things like that. So anything that like makes that it gives them an idea that whatever you're saying is genuine. So you will have to write that, and you then, as I said, you can use the Chevening annual report. You can write how Chevening is going to help you build more networks and how that is going to be beneficial. Now, the second question was LORs. So in the LORs, you have the absolute liberty, what you want to use, and whatever works best for you, whoever is going to write the best LOR for you, whoever is going to write things which are going to justify that you have leadership skills and you have networking skills, that is good. So that call you will have to do.
Just another question, like follow-up question from you, Nabeela. I have been engaging in your like public scholarship, the articles that you have written in Wire and stuff. They are really interesting. How did you use those articles? Did you use those articles in a part of application, like saying, okay, I have this public scholarship, I have done this sort of work. So have you used that in the scholarship or
You
not?
trust me, I try doing that. And I wrote in my career plans that when I come back, apart from doing litigation, I also want to build upon the academic work that I've already done. So the kind of articles I've written, they're mostly op-eds, small articles, 1500 words. And I wrote that since I don't have an academic exposure, I don't have that background, I want to delve deeper into these issues so that when I come back, I want to write like research articles. I want to write, I want to contribute academically to these problems. So if you can use whatever you have done, and like you'll have to sit with your CV, you will have to sit with yourself, and you'll have to genuinely ask yourself how you can use those things. So you can put like a line or two.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Atul, go ahead.
Hi. I just have I have three questions. So my first question is that is a reference or an LOR from a mentor who's not an academic or a professional mentor, but who has guided you throughout your career trajectory valid? Second, my question is I do not have a lot of courses that I want to take in masters because my primary aim is PhD. But I have like one course which I'm really keen on doing, and so should I apply for this scholarship? And the third one, I forgot. So this is right now the two questions I have.
I think you really first need to ask yourself that why do you need Chevening? Because that will really help you. If you aim to do a PhD, then you know that for Chevening you go back, you go to UK, you study for 1 year, you have to come back. So there is no ifs and buts or anything. And then you have to stay here for 2 years, and then maybe you can think about it. But if your longer aim, if your longer vision is to do a PhD, then maybe you should really, and maybe you are the right person to give that answer. Like, why do you really need a master's, or you want to go directly to PhD? So maybe you can sit
Okay.
with yourself and maybe reflect and think like what your future plan should be.
Okay. And what about the first question about LOR from a mentor who's not academic or professional directly linked to it? But
Yeah, so the Chevening website mentions that a referee should be someone who knows you in a professional or personal capacity, but not a friend or relative. So if this
yeah.
criteria fits, then you can use the LOR. Okay.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Well, Khushi.
Yeah, hi. I have a few questions. Can I ask them one by one, or should I just put them all out?
Let's go one by one.
Okay. So the first is that I want my LOR from my next manager, but the manager right now is not working anywhere. So is there a letterhead required or something like? Will that be a problem?
It won't be a problem. They just need to mention their details and in what capacity they supervised you. That's all.
Right. Okay, thank you. Secondly, I am applying for a social entrepreneurship program, and I have a project that I've been working on for a few years, and I'm still working on it. Is a letter of recommendation from the person I have founded it with a good idea, or is it a better idea than having it from a manager or a professor?
Again, I just mentioned the criteria. If that person is not a relative or a friend, you know that person in a professional capacity. If you think that person can speak to some of your qualities, your leadership skills or your networking skills, then go for it. But if they're a friend or
Yeah.
a relative and, there should be no bias
Yeah.
in those matters. Otherwise, it's
Yeah. No.
good.
Yeah, she
Okay.
was a colleague. She is all like I don't know if how to differentiate between a friend and
Yeah,
a co-founder.
it's tricky,
Yeah,
but
but she
I
was a
think
colleague.
I think she's eligible. It will be fine. Should be fine.
Okay. Okay. Another is that in my networking essay, like I am finding a repetitive pattern in the example that I'm using. So the work that I did with this project is very impactful. It's a strong example, but I'm finding that in the leadership essay also, this is the same thing coming up in the networking essay also. So should I focus on trying to get diverse examples, or should I just go with the strongest examples that I have?
Can I take this? Yeah, please go for diverse examples. And this is why I focus that there will be an overlapping on networking and leadership essay. Leadership essay will be the essay we are going to focus on yourself, that you made some change. And it is difficult, sometimes sounds very, very narcissistic when you start doing it, but you will have to use a lot of I's. And in the networking essay, you will have to loop people in, and you will have to show your influence in looping them in for a cause, and then how that changed the course. So there has to be diversity there. You give 2 examples, ideally in the leadership essay, because just the 500 words are there. And you can give 2 examples in the networking essay. And if you get selected, then you can give more examples. So just, write, if you are getting multiple examples right now, so you just keep writing those down. And then you take a call, which is and you also, when you use the star pattern, there will be a lot of examples that won't fit in that pattern.
Okay.
So you can just remove those, and then you can just
Right.
take a call which one fits best.
Okay, great. And my last question is, this just affects the choice of the courses that I'm putting in. So I have a 6.49 GPA, which a lot of the times says it is not eligible for 2:1. But it is, I've been told that university rankings affect how it's viewed. And I did my graduation from Symbiosis. So will it qualify? And when I convert it to percentage, it's 60 to 70%. So will it be, should I be applying for colleges that require a 2:1 degree?
You are eligible for such courses as well, but the best practice is to email your department, the department that you'll be applying for. Let's say if you're applying for the law department in Oxford, email the
Right.
department beforehand. They're usually very responsive. Most of the universities are.
Okay.
So just tell them that this is your CGPA, this is your university. Some colleges give special preference to some institutes of eminence. Whether that's
Okay.
right or wrong, that's another discussion. But just confirm it with your university, the university that you're applying for, whether you're eligible or not, and then go ahead and take a decision accordingly.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Excellent. Azra.
Good evening, everyone. So I have basically 2 questions. First of all, currently I'm studying masters. I'm in the final year of my master's degree, and I'm studying peace and conflict. So can I apply while I'm in the final year of my master's degree? And the second question is, first, it's related to the first one only. If I'm doing something like I'm studying peace and conflict, and now I want to do another master's in peace and conflict, so is that justifiable? Like in India, we don't have the subject in a very good capacity. We don't have, a good curriculum and coursework for it. So I wanted to do it abroad just because of it. So is that justifiable? And the second question is, if internships count as work experience, so can I can count it as 4 years of work experience because I've been working from second year of my graduation. But I have been working in fragments. Like whenever I work, I look for small opportunities, like only for 2 months or 1 month. So does that negatively affect my application or not?
Did you say that you are doing your course on peace and conflict studies?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So maybe your second question, because I was also peace and conflict student. The thing is, it might come like if you have already done one master's in peace and conflict, they might ask you that again another master's in the same course. There could be a question like what it could be, because if the courses are very similar, but it shouldn't be a problem because of course master's course in UK and with peace and conflict, it's more comprehensive, and you get more modules to study than you get to study in India. So that shouldn't be a problem. But also be ready with questions like why another same masters in the same course. That could be because you have already completed one masters and then you are going to UK not for a different course, or not for, maybe you can see for the universities, maybe with peace and conflict there are multiple courses, maybe something with IR or something like that. If you can explore more courses, so if you can see something which is related where it can help, it can enhance your understanding. So if something like that, you can maybe start doing a homework and start seeing courses which is a little bit slight different, which is also your interest. But if something like that you can see, that might help.
Thank you.
Great.
And the next question.
Tahreen, Azra had another question.
Yeah, sorry, what was your last question?
Yeah, I asked if the internship experience is found. Like I have done internships at
Yes,
campus.
internship, volunteer, every experience counts. That shouldn't be a problem till you meet the
I
eligibility.
haven't been like the longest I've worked in an internship is I think 4 or 6 months, not longer than that because I'm always studying in a full-time course, so I'm not able to do full-time work in a single organization for like 1 year or 2 years.
No, that shouldn't be a problem. Till you
Mhm.
meet the 2800 hours, that should be completely fine. It doesn't matter if you're breaking, if you work in break, if you're volunteering in break, or because you're a student, so it's understandable. So you can always justify it, and actually, it shouldn't be any problem.
Thank you, thank you.
Excellent. Madhavi.
Thank you for the session. I firstly had one minor doubt. So basically, when we give three university preferences, is it like in a preference form or we just give three university names? And then when in case the final application gets selected and they ask for, like, I have to give at least one unconditional offer letter in July. So does Chevening approve the scholarship just for one course combination, or is it like open for any three? Like if I make it through some other university by after July, then is it like Chevening will give me the scholarship for any of the three, or will it approve it only for one university?
So it's in the preference, it is a preference. So your first university is your first preference, second, and then third. But then in the interview, they're going to ask you for the last time if you want to make certain changes. And there you can take a call. And by 11th of July, you will have the time to give your unconditional offer letter. And Chevening doesn't care which like university you're going to have an unconditional from. So for instance, I had like two other universities as my first and second preference, and my third preference was SOAS. But then I could not apply to the first or second universities at all. So I had only applied to SOAS and I had an unconditional from SOAS by the time my interview took place. So they asked me a question whether I want to change it or not. And I was advised not to go into this discussion that I did not apply and all that. So I did not, I just said that I don't want to make any changes. So SOAS, although was my third choice, and I had not applied to the first and second, but as long as you can submit the unconditional offer letter by 11th of July, it's all good.
Also, I had one, I was very confused about what to highlight in my application. So I'm basically wanting to apply for MSc Economics. And as far as my experiences are concerned, I have on-ground and development related experiences during my college, but that was voluntary and unpaid experience. At the same time, I have a good brand name associated consulting experience after graduation, which is more policy oriented, etc. Now, as far as the course is concerned, it values both the options, both the consulting level experience as well as the groundwork experience. So, do you have any suggestions as to which one I should prefer, like highlight more in the application?
So, this is like for everybody because this is a common question. You put everything that you have done in the work experience. This is what I did. And then in the essay, you justify. You only put the relevant work experiences that you have. So you are going to I'm so sorry, I'm getting this. I hope I'm audible. So in the application, you are going to put all the experiences, whether it is like mine crossed 2800, and I obviously I was working for a long time. It doesn't matter. In the essay, you just put the relevant experiences, you justify it, and you will have space in the essay to justify it. But it's just the eligibility criteria. Work experience, just the eligibility criteria. So that is there. You just
So
put it
in the
there.
essay itself, sorry to interrupt, in the essay itself, I was asking, is it like a professional brand name associated experience would be valued more over a college level unpaid experience, or is it more about what impact I have created?
What impact you have created? No brand name. So this is like, I know that's a common question, but you always go for something that is genuine over something that is a brand. So that should be the thing during this process.
And yes, Chevening is a very egalitarian scholarship, so you don't have to worry about branding. I mean, so don't worry, you just focus upon the impact.
And apparently they have recently changed, they are from grassroots, from tier 2 and tier 3.
Yeah, they
So
have
there is that
changed
change
their
also.
thing. So
You don't care about brands and being from big cities and all that.
Wonderful. We are already way over time, but I know there are hands that are still up. Can I request everybody to keep your questions brief, and I will also request Maknoon, Tahreen, and Nabeela to keep their answers brief. With that, Iram, go ahead, and if you could limit your question to just one and keep that brief, that would be great.
Yeah, thank you so much, Samir. Just one quick question. I know this has been discussed before that marks, undergraduate marks, they don't matter. But what if, like, if you're applying for Cambridge and it generally asks 2:1, and my percentage is 59? So, what do you think? How it is going to justify if I should apply? I know for Chevening I can apply, but what about the course at Cambridge then?
If you're not eligible for the course at Cambridge, they won't give you an offer letter. That's as simple as that.
Okay. And
Yeah.
generally 2:1 is 60%, right?
Yes.
So ideally, I should be looking at the courses which like fall under the category which is 2:2, and at the same time, Chevening doesn't has that eligibility criteria, right?
Chevening doesn't have a separate eligibility criteria. You just need to be eligible for the course you're applying for.
Got it. Got it. Thank you so much.
I'll just chip in here for the benefit of everyone. First, look at the courses that you're interested in, right? And then look at courses that have, that you meet the eligibility criteria for. Don't just look at eligibility criteria in the beginning, and then tailor your interest. And the other thing is, as Maknoon earlier mentioned, there is generally a way to convert your Indian grades to what the requirement of the university in the UK is. And if you're not able to use that, email the people before you self-select yourself and say that you're not eligible, so you won't apply to that university. I would highly encourage that you email the department to get the final sort of word on whether you are eligible or not, because the conversion can be a bit, um, uh, shaky at times. And the other,
I think, sorry to cut you, some departments are very flexible. If you say that I have 4 years of work experience, or your department or your university is a public institution, they usually moderate the marks. And if you're able to justify it, they will be flexible. They will say, okay, you apply and we'll consider it. So the best way forward is to email them. That's the final word.
absolutely, for everybody. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is those of you who have their hands up and are mentees at Project EduAccess, you will have many, many, many opportunities for questions and answers with our Chevening scholars in the coming days. You know that you're part of the Chevening Scholarship Support Program, and you will have, as I said, many opportunities to ask these questions. So if you would be kind enough to lower your hands and give people who are not mentees with us an opportunity to ask those questions, that would be great. But if your question is urgent and you still want to ask the question, we will stay on for the call for a bit. With that, Bhavani, please ask your question.
Thank you, Samir. It's a small question. I have done my BTech, but I worked as a journalist. To bridge it, I have done a PG diploma course from a really good institute in the country. So, so the experience I want to add everything is based on this degree, because the professors and everybody have watched me closely. So I'm having this problem how to solve the LOR problem and even the essays issue, because the graduation is, I think, irrelevant.
Hi,
Samir.
if I may
Yes.
understand. Yeah, you are saying that you have done your graduation in engineering and then you shifted, right?
Yes, yes.
So I think your essay is mostly focused on your work. So they don't ask you what you have done your graduation on, what course or what it is. So if you are able to fit in those essay, I mean those keywords, I mean whatever work, whatever domain you are, whatever field you are, that should not matter, I feel. Maybe you can focus on the work, like after graduation, whatever you have done, and you can fit into those category of the application. I think that should work.
Yeah. Terry, thank you for the answer. That answers half of my question. I meant like I want my professors from this this diploma course which I did to be giving me the reference. So will that work? Because it's a bridge course and it is related and but that's after my graduation.
Maybe Maknoon can take it.
I think that will work. I think that will work. It's
Okay.
completely fine if a person from that bridge course, even if that course does not, qualify you for the Chevening scholarship, but still that person there who has taught you in a professional capacity, in an academic capacity, that person, if they can speak to your qualities, I think it will be fine. Don't worry about that.
Thank you, I'm so glad.
Wonderful. Shoaib, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, hello everyone. I had many questions, but I'll ask just two. And my question two is basically Nabeela. You said in the essay we have to discuss more about the community and the problems that the community is facing. So, firstly, how much can we say? To phrase it differently, how radical we can be in our answer, or how much we are allowed to say? Because from my experience, I have felt people who go, they have been very diplomatic in their answers. So, the level of diplomacy we have to follow, like. Is there any first question, and then I'll ask the second one?
So the fact that I got the Chevening scholarship, I think you can write anything. So because my profile was like that. So if I could not have written something, then my entire profile was going. So all my matters were very, very radical in nature.
I'm sorry, but I'm not able to hear you.
Well, that's what happens when you're radical. Well, I think we've lost Nabeela. And maybe Tahreen or Maknoon.
And I wrote everything because that, I think it's audible.
Nabeela, we
Yeah,
lost you
now.
for a little bit. If you can repeat your answer, that would be great.
Can I ask a question?
Sorry, we're waiting for Nabeela to answer the question that Shoaib asked. Oh, okay, Nabeela has dropped off. Shoaib, we'll come back to it, and in the meantime, let's have Nisha ask that question. Nisha, go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, so when I was registering for Chevening Scholarship, they were asking like eligibility regarding marks. It was 2:1. So, but I come under 2:2. So, still I can apply for Chevening. And does my master degree marks will be considered, because I did graduation in literature, but I studied in tests with gender studies and I had better marks in tests than in my graduation. So what should I do? Shall I still continue with Chevening? Will they accept my application?
Let me take this, Nisha. So because this has come up several times. Chevening does not have a separate requirement of your grades, etc. The only requirement is that you have an undergraduate degree that makes you eligible for a master's in the UK. So with the percentage that you have, both from your undergrad and from your master's, if that makes you eligible for the degrees in UK that you wish to do, then please go ahead and apply to the Chevening. Chevening does not put any additional requirements in terms of grades.
But
You
it is,
have to.
sorry, Samir, but just to confirm, it is showing that do you have or currently studying or recognized university degree that will be accepted for entry on a postgraduate program. This is
Exactly.
typically equivalent to upper second class. So that is why like it is asking there. So what should I put, yes or no?
So you put yes because it's typically, and then you check with your university, the university that you wish to apply to, whether your marks from your undergrad and your master's degree put together, whether they make you eligible for the degree that you wish to apply to. Once again, the word that they mention on the website is typically, because different courses have different requirements, and there will be some courses that have a slightly higher requirement than 2:1, and there will be some courses that have a lower requirement than 2:1. So don't worry so much about that, as this is something that Maknoon and others also mentioned. Please do confirm with your university as to whether you are eligible for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Great. Nabeela, I think it's back. Nabeela, do you want to continue answering Shoaib's question?
Yes. So all I was stating is that it's okay. So at least in my experience. So like all my matters are very political in nature, and I was actually advised in some of the scholarships that I should not mention it, but in the Chevening everybody had this experience that it's okay, and I wrote freely because that was my profile, and also I wanted to own it because I had nothing else to add, and then also it went well, so I think it's okay.
Hello,
And
Nabeela.
Yes.
Yes,
okay,
Nabeela,
okay.
I want to know.
Sorry, Faiza. There are people who are ahead of you, and I will prioritize them. I'm very sorry, but Shoaib, please continue
Yeah,
with your
I
second
just have
question.
one more question. This is the last one, so it's open to and anyone can answer. So the thing is, Chevening has this criteria of 2 years minimum experience, but the people who have been a Chevening scholar, they had mostly more than 3-4 years. So they say there's this criteria of 2 years, but is it like someone has really been accepted with just 2 years of experience? Because so far I have not seen, or I might be wrong.
No, there are plenty of people who only were just meeting the requirements, 2 years of experience. Even I barely had two, so it's fine. They won't prioritize someone with a 10-year work experience. Like you really need to just justify your application based on the criteria that we just discussed during the presentation. So
Thank you. I had many more questions, but as Sameer said, we'll have mentee session. I am a mentee, so I'll ask there. Thank you.
Thank you for being so kind and generous, Shoaib. Sadiq Ali.
Hi, actually, my question, I completed my bachelor's from IGNOU University, actually, Indira Gandhi National Open University. It is only in the distance mode. So, am I eligible to apply? This is my first question.
yes, I don't think it should be a problem. I think you are.
Okay, thank you so much. And the second one is actually, I since it is my undergrad is like distance, there were not like a direct to direct contact. I completed my 12th fees in 2015 actually. So when I take LOR, right now I'm working actually. I have 5 years of experience. I'm currently in an organization only. So I'm thinking one, I will be taking from manager. The second thing, I have to go my PU level, which mean +2 level, or actually currently from the past 1 year, actually I had enrolled for one thing. Like I have a kind of coach who is mentoring. We are working on the leadership qualities and all. He's running a private institution, and I am taking from past 1 year and currently under mentorship actually. So should I consider him as another LOR?
Yes, it should be fine. So it's not mandatory that you mix and match, that you have both professional and academic LORs. You can have two LORs from one manager, one co-worker. That's also fine. You can have one from your manager and one from your coach at the leadership course as well. That should be fine.
Okay, so the suggestible, it's more than diverse. The what really count is how much they are referring about you.
Yeah,
Am I right?
how well they know you, how comprehensive of an LOR they can write for you. That is what matters.
Okay, if take this criteria, I think these two, my cost would be
Yeah,
better
yeah.
rather than.
Go for it. Go for it. Yeah.
But diversity will be less, so that's why I thought to ask you.
It's fine. As I said, you don't need to really, they don't ask for it, so we have to assume that they don't give preference to people who have a diverse set of, LORs. So it's really about what the criteria they've mentioned there on the website is. So that is someone who knows you in a professional or academic or even personal capacity, who is not a friend or a relative, that is fine. So if you think that the person who has taught you this leadership course, who is your coach, he knows you as a person, who he knows your leadership qualities, he can speak about them, then go for that person.
Okay, thank you so much. And the final one actually, like I assume what while applying for the colleges actually, if we like while I mean the question how we can sure that we will be getting admission in the particular universities which we will be applying for.
I mean, you can never be sure, but you're applying for 3 courses. That is a separate discussion altogether. But if you're applying for 3 courses, just check the acceptance rate. You know your own, your own strengths, and you know how. Like, if you're applying to 3 courses, make sure that these 3 courses are, diversified enough in terms of, the acceptance rate. Don't just apply to the top courses, to the top universities only. Apply to some universities which have a slightly higher acceptance rate, so that you have a maximum chance of getting an unconditional offer by the July deadline.
Okay, thank you so much. And final last one, actually, I thought someone telling about unconditional letter or something. Like, I don't know about it. Could you little tell about it? Would be nice, actually. So that would be my first last. Thank you so much.
Okay, so you usually people get a conditional offer. It is conditional upon, let's say, meeting your English language requirements, or conditional upon getting a degree or a transcript if you have not already submitted it. Okay, so conditional offer is conditional upon the particular requirements that they have mentioned on the offer letter. Once you meet all those requirements, you get a second offer, which is an unconditional offer. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you for the wonderful session. Thank you.
Abhishek.
Hi guys, just quick question. First question is like, I heard that Chevening scholarship are 2 types, like fellowship and scholarship. So I want to have a small 1 minute description about that. My second question is that I have a friend who wants to also apply for Chevening scholarship, but she has done her masters and she done her PhD without any work experience. So will the PhD thing is also been counted? That's my 2 questions.
So this session is about the Chevening Master's Scholarship. That is it, which is tenable for a postgraduate degree, a master's degree in the UK. That is all. The fellowships, all the other things are separate. We're not discussing them right now. And no, I don't think the PhD will count. We'll have to check again, but I don't think that counts as a professional work experience in this particular context. It doesn't.
Thank
you. Nabeela, do you have more information on that? I don't think so. I mean,
PhD doesn't count. Yeah. And fellowship is there's a fellowship for mid-career professionals. So there's a separate fellowship there.
Yeah, on the PhD point, just to add, as such, the degree will not count as professional experience or any work experience for that matter. But let's say while you're a PhD candidate, if you do teaching as part of that, teaching assistantship, research assistantship, those may be attached to the PhD, but they will be counted as work experience. But as such, the PhD in itself and the research that you do is not work experience.
So the add to that one point, Samir, that will the candidate get disqualified by having a PhD? Not necessarily, right? Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Kishore.
Hi, good evening. I'm just going to quick ask 2 questions. One is, this question is several times already been asked, but this is my concern that I'm the very low strata. I think I have the percentage in my undergrad 52%. So am I eligible for Chevening scholarship? And second one is, one of my, that is not relatives, she is from Tamil and I'm from Odisha. And when I came here in Delhi, I used to work with them. And now she is in Edinburgh University. She is a senior lecturer. And if they're asking for me LOR, can I get, LOR from her? Because I used to work with as a caretaker of their families, and now uncle and auntie, they are passed away. So would it be possible to get, and would it be acceptable? Thank you.
So, first of all, Chevening is a leadership-based scholarship. And if you will see what is the eligibility criteria, you will see that they don't mention that they want certain kind of percentage from you. So as long as they are not mentioning that they want a citizen, they want a person who commits that they are going to come back to their home country for 2 years. They want a person who has a work experience of 2 years or 2800 hours. And you will have to have an unconditional offer by 11th of July. So that is what they are seeking. So you can apply. That's not a problem. You will have to justify your leadership skills and you will have to justify other qualities that they're seeking. Secondly, you can take an LOR from that person. And in LORs also, they don't mention that they want a certain kind of LOR. So if that person can write a good LOR for you, justifying that you have those qualities, what Chevening is seeking, as long as that is there, it's good. It's perfect.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Shakti.
Hi, this is sort of a repeated question, but it's a different specific. So as soon as you register on the Chevening portal, there's a question that asks you whether you have a 2:1 degree. As per my university formula for conversion, a 3.9 is a 59 and a 4 is a 60. I'm a 3.95. Should I just answer that question yes or no?
Just answer that question as yes. What you actually need to do is the 3 courses that you're referring to, that you're like indicating as your 3 preferences, just check that you're eligible for those courses. Just match your percentage or CGPA with their entry requirements.
Yeah, that I've done.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Great. Anu, Ansif.
Okay, so most of the question be answered. What I Okay, then there will be one more questions. I am looking for applying. My previous education is in Islamic finance, but is it any problem when I apply for another discipline? It will be decrease the chance of possibility of got this Chevening scholarship. And second question is, we want to answer the questions in that admission portal. Application portal, and what's the question look like? Only the one essays to be answered or not? If so, what is the questions look like?
Okay, so to answer your first question, it will not be a problem if you're now working in a different field. You just need to justify it through the essays why there was a shift, or if there actually was a shift, or it was just a natural progression, right? And the second question, sorry, what was the second question? About the
Is there only one question answered for essay?
There are 4 questions. So you can go to the Project EduAccess website. We have detailed materials, literature on how to answer those questions, what those questions are. But I would suggest that you create an account on the Chevening portal, okay, and go through all the questions that they're asking there.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Shaheen.
Oh, hi. So my question is regarding the eligibility. I have recently completed my graduation from Mumbai University, and my transcript is delayed due to administrative issues at the university. So I'm not sure if it will be available before the Chevening Scholarship application deadline. Let's say until November 30. So can I still apply for the Chevening Scholarship even if my transcript is not available at the time of application? Or will a letter from my university confirming that transcript is delayed be sufficient for my application?
So you can apply, you can upload your documents till mid-February. There's a date of 19th of February. So if you are going to get your transcript in say November, December, then you can upload in February.
Okay, that's answered my question. Thank you. And the second question I have is that I failed a subject during my undergraduate studies due to the issue related to COVID-19. And I took a gap year to complete an associate degree in the USA, which I got a scholarship, fully funded scholarship from the US Department of State. And after that, I completed my third year in Mumbai. So I have 3 years of work experience prior to my graduation. So my question is, will my failed subject due to COVID related affects my eligibility for Chevening?
No, not at all.
Okay. Will my gap year and the completion of an associate degree in the USA be considered favorably or not favorably?
See, we don't know what favors and what doesn't favor, but yeah, it like mentioning it, it's not going to negatively impact you.
Okay. I have 3 years of work experience prior to my graduation, and also I completed my third year through distance learning, while two in a regular mode. So will it impact my eligibility or not?
You just need 2 years work ex. If you have that, then you're eligible. That is all.
And if I completed my third year from distance learning, will it create any impact?
So we don't know what creates an impact. And there are people who have a lot of work ex. There are people who just have a 2-year work ex. But if their work is, if they are able to justify that their work is impactful, that will be upon you. Then clearly
No, I mean to say I have completed my third year of graduation from distance learning.
Right.
And the 2 years was on regular mode. The third year was distance learning. Because some of the universities, when I applied for the application in the USA, they were not accepting my transcript, which is from the distance learning.
No, I don't think so. That is a problem. Somebody can tell if something is different.
Okay, then I will apply for the scholarship. Thank you so much for clearing my eligibility criteria.
Great. Osama.
Yeah, hi. So thank you so much for this beautiful session. I just wanted to know from Nabeela that because she's from legal background, what are the courses that best aligns with Chevening that the Chevening aims to promote the postgraduate courses? And my second question is that I have been working as a freelance legal consultant, so I have not been associated with any company for a long period of time. Briefly, between these 2 years, I've been associated with two organizations. So one of them was a company, so I was associated as a legal assistant to them, and then the second one was an incubator of a engineering college. So I was associated as a community manager. So I wanted to expand my horizon of the startup ecosystem. So that was the reason I was there. Between that, for a very brief period of time. So that was around 4 months or so. So I got a chance to lead one of the largest startup conference that was held in our city, organized by a union minister. So I was leading the communications and communications department of that conference with top VCs and investors and founders of unicorn startups in India. So this
Shorten
is
your question,
purely
Osama, please.
yeah. So this is purely a commercial domain. So how is that like? Does Chevening support these kind of programs, postgraduate programs that I aim to pursue as
Right.
a
Right. So there is a list available, what courses they support. And as far as I know, all the legal programs are there. So there is one person in my cohort is working in law and technology. So his course is also related with that. And he has worked in the technology domain and not as a lawyer and not related to law. But now, since he has also studied law, he wants to study the intersection of both the domains. So if you can substantiate that, it's good. It's okay. So there is nothing specific written that you'll have to go and do an LLM or a BCL or something.
Excellent. Ria.
Thank you so much.
Hello everyone. I'll be very quick. I just have one question. So I have done this Chevening procedure before. I cleared the essay round. I even sat for the interview, but then I could not go ahead with it. I just want to ask the kind of LORs that I submitted last year, would they still be valid this year if I go with those only, or should I just renew it with an updated date?
I think Ria, LOR shouldn't be a problem. If you so maybe you can revise and enhance your essays, because I was myself not selected. So maybe you can work on your essays. Maybe you can emphasize them, and LOR shouldn't be a problem.
Okay,
Uh,
okay, thank you so
Ria,
much.
ideally, what you also should do is, of course, you have to change the dates, I think, on those LORs. So because it's been a year since then, right? So you need to show that you've worked and you've updated your, they don't usually have data on your previous application, but still, it shouldn't look like there's a gap of 1 year, whether it's
Yes.
in your LOR, whether it's in your work experience section or in your essays. Okay. So update everything and enhance everything, because clearly something didn't work the last time, but it most probably has to do something with your interaction with the people
Yeah,
there, because they were already impressed with your profile, right? So you have to
right.
update
The
your profile,
interviews,
but
yeah,
you need to focus on your interview. Yes.
yeah. Okay, thank you so much.
Samir, you're mute.
Ah, oh, I'm so sorry. I was saying, Sachin, you have your hand up. If you would like to ask your question, please do.
Reverse card.
Yes. Thank you to EduAccess team for conducting this wonderful session. So my question is around eligibility. So the thing is, I have started my full-time work. So as in full-time AI engineer, I have started my work from last year August. So by this August, I am 1 year having 1 year of experience. But before that period, I was working in the same company as an engineer, as an AI engineer for doing internship for 6 months. So this is my like total work experience of around like it will be around 2 year in the, if we are including internship period of 6 months, uh, from like Jan of 2023 to the July of that year. So my question is, because when I was going to the tuning method, they mentioned that it shouldn't be something mandatory employment from your degree. The thing was the internship which I did in the same company where I'm currently working. So it is part of my 6 month internship period for my BTech in information technology degree. So yes, so am I eligible? And the other thing is, I have did some research internship in my college of 3 months, and I have been associated with a NGO who teach the students around the slum area of like for 9th and 10th standard. So they help prepare them board study. So I have tutored them. I have taught them courses in science and maths. So this is what I wanted to ask. And other thing is on the LOR part. So like the thing is, I can ask for one LOR from my professor because I have did a research publication in the AI field, and the other thing is I am currently working, so I can get one from there. So like, is it maximum 2 LOR, or I can get the 1 LOR from the NGO where I have worked as a tutor? So these are all my questions basically.
You only need two LORs, so that's up to you how you decide. Like we have already discussed how you can, decide on your LORs. So you only need two LORs to answer that question. And about the first question, if that 6 month internship was graded and if that grade appears on your transcript, then that internship cannot be that it won't count towards your work experience. That 6 month internship. Okay, if it was a part of your degree, because that's the rule, you're right. But if you can add any other volunteer experience, any other the experience with the NGO and any other experience, and if then you count it and it's at least 2,800 hours, then you're eligible. Otherwise not.
Okay. So I can take the research. Actually, the research internship which I did, I have did in the same institute, same college, but while I was studying. So it will be like it is not part of my grading, but it was separate, but in the same college or under some professor. Is
That's
it
fine.
fine,
That
right?
will count. That will count. That will definitely count. If it was not a part of the degree, they
And the
see
other,
if you make sure that in the essays you make this clear that this was a separate experience, that it did not count towards your towards your degree, then it's fine.
yeah,
I think you're eligible then.
okay. And okay, so that 6 months won't be counted. So actually, by the work hour counting method, so I was able to count. So basically, we have to work for like 9 hours per day. So by that thing, when I was calculating the hours, which I did, which I'll be doing till the November, till the deadline. So it is around that 200, 2,800 something hours. So it is happening that hour condition. So what is the main condition? So the hours is the main condition, or the 2 years of experience is the main condition? Because even in the same organization where I'm working, it is happening that it is like 200, 2,800 work hour is done in that same organization where I'm working currently. But if we are taking a straight, if we are taking a strict on the years of experience, it is around only 1 year, because that other internship is
So
part of
it's
my employment.
so you could have completed those 2,800 hours within 1 year.
It is
That
okay.
makes you eligible. Yes, it doesn't have to be, and you could have completed those 2,800 hours over a period of 3 years or 4 years. You're still eligible. Okay.
Oh,
I hope that
yes,
answers
sir.
the question.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Ilham, Arpita, and then Faizan. Sorry, Faizan. Ilham.
Hello, hi. Thank you first of all for organizing this session. My name is Ilham. I completed my BTech 2 years ago. Since then, I've been working in a public sector undertaking company, which is for the government of India. And during the initial years, they don't involve you a lot into projects, etc. Like you are there, but then there's not a lot of content that I can use that can justify my leadership skills. But back in college, that is 2 years ago, I have really exemplified leadership skills. Like I was a founding member of a society, and I also went on to become its president and stuff like that. But then while I was researching about Chevening Scholarship and how to write its essays, it said that to put more emphasis on the professional 2 year journey. So will it be fruitful if I actually use my college experience?
Okay, so just to be clear, I mean, that might be an ideal situation. I don't think they have mentioned it on their official website. So once you're done with like you're eligible based on your work experience, then in your essays, you highlight everything that you feel justifies your candidature the best. It doesn't necessarily have to be from the 2 years of work experience that you've completed after completing your graduation. So I personally did mention my writing, like it was called the writing forum. It was a literary forum within my college. I did mention that. So every experience, whether it's within your college or outside your college, that you feel justifies your candidature, that you feel exemplifies or demonstrates your skills, you can mention them. That's not a problem.
Fine, thank you so much. One another question. I was looking at course. So I work in the oil and gas sector, right? And I'm a mechanical engineer. Um, the courses that I'm looking forward to is either technology related courses, but I think do you think there's a lesser, but there are also sustainability related courses which actually obviously can create more impact. So amongst your Chevening Scholar cohort groups, do you think there's more probability? Do you think I should select courses that are more inclined towards sustainability and stuff like that? What would you
I
have to say
mean,
about that?
that is not, I would say, in any decision, it shouldn't be the criteria for you to decide on a course that whether it's more preferable or not. Your candidature will be best justified when you apply to a course that you're interested in, right? So that is the only criteria that you should use. They don't discriminate between courses. Okay, this candidate is applying for a sustainability course, so we should pick that candidate over someone else. This is not how Chevening scholarships work. At least that is not what we have experienced so far. So don't think about like these courses in such a way. If you're interested in a course, you just have to justify how that course will help your skills, your knowledge, that will eventually help you to solve a problem in your home country. So that is one criteria that you have to focus on. Problem solving in your home country, because you're supposed to come back for 2 years and work for your society.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Great, Arpita.
Hi, I just had a quick question regarding the work experience eligibility criteria. I've been running a not-for-profit organization for the past 7-8 years, and simultaneously I've also done my education and done other work as well, be it full-time jobs or volunteering, etc. So I'm wondering if it would be advisable to list out all my work experience in the application, or would it be advisable to calculatively write down the work ex so that it doesn't look like there has been like overlapping nature of work done at simultaneous time. And the second question is, if I have developed a project with a family member of mine, which I feel like might have given the most social impact, and I want that person to write the LOR for me, would that be considered eligible, or would it be advisable to get the LOR from another person who might not be at the same role, but who might have worked with me in the project?
To answer your first question, I don't think there is an overlap, or an overlap is possible, because if you have a passion project that you're working on simultaneously as you're working on for a job, for a full-time job, even then, like, the total number of hours per week has to be limited, right? You cannot enter more hours than you have worked, right? So I think it's completely fine. So just put in all the hours honestly, so that should reflect fine. I don't know if I'm able to answer your question. The second question, let me just finish. I think you can take the LOR from that person. It's completely fine. But if they're like, if their name is very similar to your name, or it's very apparent that this person is your relative, it will be ideal not to use their name or use their LOR. Ideally, you shouldn't then.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Faiza. Faiza,
Hello.
you had a question again. Okay, Yashwant, you
Hello.
have the last question. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. I have a question related to LOR. Can I consider a, a mentor from my 4-month fellowship for professional as a professional LOR? Hello.
Yes, you can. I don't remember the portal asks you to,
Hello, am I audible?
They don't. Yes, we heard your question, Yashwant. I'm saying that I don't think
Yeah.
the portal asks you to categorize your LOR, whether it's an academic LOR or a professional LOR. That is like mostly apparent in what the content of the LOR is. So you just, to answer your question, that LOR is fine. So take that LOR. Should work.
Okay, thank you.
Samir, may I ask a small question?
Yes, go ahead, Adnan. This will be the last
Thank you.
question.
Yeah, thank you so much. I should thank you for this session. You don't know how many dreams that have died through these sessions they have arose. I fulfill this Chevening Scholarship criteria. I'm just worried about one thing, that unconditional offer. Actually, I have 64.9 percentage in my BA LLB and 54.5 in class 12. Now, I just want to know the probability of being selected. I did my LLM with 7.2 CGPA then in labor law. Now I wish to pursue LLM in international law. So what is the probability? I know this is not the session for that. I just wanted to know what is the probability of me trying for this LLM with these marks? Thank you. If Nabeela could answer.
Yeah, I think, see, different universities have different criterias, and you should apply. I think there is no problem in most of the universities with those marks. And Chevening doesn't have any criteria.
Thank
terms
you so much.
Actually,
Absolutely.
I want to know. Hello.
Yes, go
Just
ahead.
one question.
Faiza, this is the last question. Wonderful. Go ahead.
Yes, yes. Okay. I want to know how our social media website, social media, social media, LinkedIn and all impact such scholarships. Do they track all these websites, etc.? Because I do not have any proper LinkedIn profile, and I've seen so many students having so much maintenance on their LinkedIn profile and all. So that's why I have just this query.
So I think that doesn't matter because I also don't have a LinkedIn profile.
Even I didn't have a LinkedIn profile when I was
I
applying for
only have an Instagram that is also private. So
The rest of us are
Okay.
having a LinkedIn profile.
Great. I think that finally brings us to the end of the questions. We only managed to take questions that were, that you raised your hands for. There are still a lot of questions in chat that are probably unanswered, but we will do more sessions and more Q&As, and hopefully you will have an opportunity to get your questions answered. As Maknoon mentioned, there is quite a lot of resources that we have available on our website and on the YouTube channel. We have done several workshops in previous years on similar questions, so you might also want to check those. A recording of this session will be available on our YouTube channel within the next 24 hours. And also the FAQ section on Chevening website is also quite helpful. So you might want to just go and look at the FAQ section there, because a lot of these questions are answered there. With that, I know it was a marathon of a session. Let me thank Maknoon, Tahreen, and Nabeela for being so patient, being so diligent in answering the questions as well as in delivering the presentation, and also everyone who stayed for about 2.5 hours on this session. Thank you so much. And those of you who are EduAccess mentees, you will hear more about the Chevening Scholarship Support Program that we run with you. Thank you, everybody, and bye.